No pressure.
That's definitely
I reckon your winch from there, Brian.
All right, so here we are. Off camera, I've been working a fair bit on these doors. It's never as easy as you think, so I've had to go through and just tidy up all my previous metal work. If you refer back to those old episodes. Yeah, so I did a lot of work here. So I've just been feathering it out with some filler and stuff because you can see those areas. Yeah, and I realised I've got a Sikaflex seal or seam seal all these door areas here because water can get access in there. So if you guys haven't done that, then you probably should as well. I've totally forgot to even think about it. So I've went and got some Sikaflex and I'm going to run over that, and then I'll probably just do another primer coat over the top. I want to get these all sprayed, as I mentioned, this weekend, and that'll be a big step forward. So the guards, you probably want to put some seam sealer underneath there as well, where it joins. Just to stop water getting inside there, that crevice and rusting, because that will be exposed inside there to the elements. While I'm here, just wanted to give a bit of an update on these bumpers. Now, you know, as I say that once you've done all the, you think you've done all the hard work, 95% of the work is finding all the small bits at the end. And one of the things that's going to be expensive on this build potentially is repurposing these. So once you do everything up, you know, everything that you bolt back on that's old looks crap, and this bumper is no exception. So it's got a lot of pitting along here. It's got some dents. It's actually, when I got this, it was pretty ordinary anyway. It was twisted. Because the original ute came with a bull bar, the bumper bar wasn't on it. So you can see there, it's had a smack, and that bracket's pushed up through there, and you know, you can't re-chrome it, or you can't put body filler on metal, I don't think, and re-chrome. It's got to be all one piece, which is a bit of a pickle because, yeah, I'm not going to spend the money re-chroming that because it's just not worth it. So really, it's like paint it a different colour, or try and paint it with virtual chrome, or get a new one. So I'm leaning towards getting a new one, and a plastic shroud as well, because that one's, even though you could probably weld that up, the plastic's pretty ordinary on it anyway. I don't think they're overly expensive. So yeah, that's just additional costs that, you know, you don't factor in. So I'll go and show you the bumperettes as well. There's literally crap everywhere up here. So I've got a heater box there, air conditioning unit. I'm pretty sure is floating around. Not too sure if that's part of the heater box or that is the air conditioning unit there. Anyway, I'm not using the air conditioning unit again, so I'll probably sell that. These are the bumperettes, so you can see two big bangs there and a big bang there, so they're useless. You know, you can't really fix that stuff. You take a lot of time to get it really flawless. And as I said, I don't think you can fill these and then re-chrome them, because the chrome won't adhere to anything but metal. Correct me if I'm wrong. So they're, to replace these, as you know, you can get them from Resto Country. I think they're about $450 or something. So that's led me to my decision to change it up a bit. As you've probably seen on these some of these builds, people put a full width bar on it. This ute's not going to be a factory build anyway. It's already custom with the colour, so I'm thinking I'll put a full width bar. In fact, I've already bought one, so I'll go and show you. There she is. Love coming in here. So anyway, I went and found this HZ full width bar, and it's in really good nick. It's been painted. It's got a purple 2-pack on it, but there's not one dint on it, and it also comes with the brackets. So these look really good on these utes, the full width bar. You know, if you were to revisit it, you'd probably build them with a full width bar as opposed to those bumperettes. Now, everyone that wants an original build, if you're doing a Kingswood and you want it to do factory spec, of course you're going to use the bumperettes. This thing's a bit of a custom build, so yeah, I just thought I'd tidy it up with a full width bumper bar at the back. You can get the WB ones, they've got a really thick stripe on the back, but these ones have just got a nicer, thinner stripe, which is going to be similar to this width that I'm going to put along here anyway. It comes with these two brackets, and it comes off a station wagon, so if you want to put a full width bar on these utes, you've got to get one from a station wagon, apparently, because the tailgate won't fit or won't lower all the way down with one off a sedan. So this one's off a wagon. I don't know what the differences are. Maybe just a bit slimmer in its height. And these are the brackets here. So they don't line up with the bracket holes that are on the current ute, which I thought was the case. So they sort of attach inside there like that, and they'll sit against the back of the ute that way. So in order to make that work, you've got two holes there. You're just going to have to re-drill a couple of new holes somehow. And position it accordingly. So those two holes there are where the tailgate hinge currently sits, and then the bumperettes bolt onto that. And then you've got two other holes around here, which the bumperettes have got a bracket as well. So I don't reckon you'd need to use that one on the side. You could just leave it. But if you fashioned up two holes in there and put it into those holes there, then you won't have to drill any new holes in the unit. And I reckon that would be stable enough to hold the bar, no dramas. I mean, I had the whole body hanging off those 4 bolt holes for 2 years. So they should be able to hold up a 15 kilo bumper bar. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do, I think, because it's going to really set off the back of the ute. I think it'll look nice. And in order to test fit it, what I'll do is I'll test fit it on the HZ out the back, because just take those bumperettes off, do all the damage on that ute instead of marking the paint, fitting it up on this thing. And that way, once I know the holes are exactly the same, I'll just prep it and bolt it up for final assembly. And I've got some paint stripper, because the chrome actually is really in pretty good, decent nick underneath the paint. So I'm going to get some paint stripper and just take these rubbers off and remove all this purple paint. And I reckon with a bit of luck, it'll come back in good nick and I won't have to re-chrome it. And these, if you're wondering, you can buy these from Rare Spares or Resto Country, I've noticed. $24. You get 6 of these, and they're already stainless, which is great. Just repaint those brackets as well, and I think that'll be it. I've always got the bumperettes off the HZ if I decide to change my mind and put them on, but I think this is the way to go. All right, so I'm going to start getting all the panels out into the sun and start prepping the seam sealer, and then get it ready for paint. Okay, so I've done the seam sealer. I'll give you a look. Now I just went and had a look at the HZ, and it doesn't actually have any seam sealer around any of these areas. So I've probably gone berserk and done something that's not really necessary, but I sort of factor in, I was looking at the Triton, and that's all seam sealed around the edges. And I guess back in the day, you got to save costs and time. It just takes time to do all this kind of stuff on the production line, so you just would skip it. But it certainly is areas that they have shown to rust because of water getting in and things like that. Especially, I went and had a look at the HZ, and this is actually, you can actually see this from inside the engine bay. So, it's got to be fairly neat, otherwise you're going to get that seam sealer marks. But that inside, that gap is not seam sealed from factory on the HZ, but you could see that was actually rusting slightly inside that gap. So I just thought, why not? I'll do it. And also in here, the seam sealed right up in the edge there, because that's going to get water in it. And did the same thing. It's a bit untidy around this edge, which is the only thing I don't like about it. But once it's all glossed on, once it's got the base coat and the gloss clear on it, I don't think you'll notice. And all this stuff's covered with rubber, obviously. You do see this section here, but you know, how often do you open a door and really start having a gander at the hinges? So I'm happy that it's done in that way. All in here too, you can see there's all a lot of folds of metal and gaps here. Water can get into and sit, and you know, just because it's all painted doesn't mean it's not prone to rusting again. So I've been sort of debating how to do this. I'm going to cover this in black paint, but I'm going to spray the outside first, and then what I'll do is at the end I'll just brush that on very carefully and tape around it, because otherwise you're going to get overspray either way. If you spray that now, you're going to get overspray on the panel and then sanding it and get all dust in. So you're probably better off just painting this on the outside, and then at the end before assembly just paint some black paint in there. All right, so I'm just going to go over now with 2K primer just to hide all that seam sealer and make sure that it's nice and even. Probably after that give it a light sand, and then really it's just going to wait for it to dry, and then I'm going to start to prep the booth to get the ute out and start cleaning it so that I can hang these things up ready for spraying. Probably won't be today, it'll be first thing in the morning. So that's done. Primer just covered up that seam sealer beautifully. So I'll tell you what, I'm guilty of overdoing things. You know, there's a thing of doing a good job, and then there's overdoing it. So, you know, I remember someone said to me, close enough is good enough. I never liked that comment, because it just means that you just basically, you know, creating an excuse to not doing a very good job. But sometimes you've just got to make a call and say, right, you know, that's good enough. And so where this, for instance, this is a good example, this seam sealer mark here, you know, I went and sanded that back on that other door when it wasn't ready enough, wasn't dry enough. And now because it wasn't dry enough, it's sort of balled up and created more work for myself. So if I just left it and just be happy with, you know, a bit of a seam sealer mark, which 90% of cars, if you open the door and have a look, they've got a bit of a seam sealer mark along there. Obviously, you know, if you go into your high-end luxury cars, they probably won't, but your everyday run-of-the-mill car will have seam sealer around the edges where it's joined. Of course, this isn't an everyday run-of-the-mill car, so a lot of guys will say, you know, take the extra time to do it. But sometimes you just got to make that call, as I'm saying, you know. Just go, right, well, how often are you going to see that area once you've got the clear coat and the base coat and the clear coat on? You won't even really look at it. It'll just be nice and shiny. So, yeah, I'm guilty of doing it. And sometimes by that pursuit of perfection, you create more trouble than it's worth. So sometimes you're better off just close enough is good enough for those little things that the 1%ers you're not going to see. Just get it done. Move on, otherwise you'll be here forever. I've got other cars I want to do, you know. This is my 5th year with this ute, and admittedly I don't work full time on it, but yeah, just if you're chasing perfection, you'll never get it. And that's not an excuse, that's just, you know what, it's 95% good. No one will ever notice the 5%, so just get it done. All right, so now I've got to basically get the ute outside of the booth so that I can hang all the doors and the guards in. And it'll also give me an opportunity on such a beautiful day to have a look at the ute for the first time out in the sun. I haven't done that. I've rolled it out to here before, but really it was only the front end that was there. But I'm going to move the 911 in and then move it out and manoeuvre the ute so I can actually get it outside that door and get it into the full sun, and we'll see. So here it is out in the sun, just poking its head out. So I was just waiting to see the sun come out so I can show you the pearl, the bronze pearl, but can't really see it. What you can see is obviously the orange peel. So it's not until give this a good old buff and polish, get all that out, that it's really going to start singing. But at the moment, to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with it. As far as, you know, just that. I mean, you can see that the nice line in the back of the quarter panel there. It's all there. But without that, without getting that orange peel out, it's just a flat, dark colour. Which will look great when it's all put together as well, with new wheels and yeah, all the chrome and stuff on it. That dark colour will look good, but yeah, it's not until you really start to see that pearl coming through with the sunshine and without the orange peel that it'll reach its true potential. At the moment, it's not quite there. So. So it's the same deal as usual. I've cut out all the prep work, but basically this is where I'm at. Got the clear out in the sun, yeah, and got all the guards and everything hanging. So we've got the doors hanging and the guards on the stands like this. Seems like a good way to hang them. Just put the stand up to the second chain from the top, and it gives enough height to sort of get down low. You still get access from to the back. Where you going? And yeah, the doors, I've just got 2 wires hanging from some meat hooks up there on the C channels, and hoping that doesn't get too much of a wave going. It probably will with the air. So I may have to sort of fix something there or put some weights on or something, but I'm not too sure. Maybe I'll just push through. So yeah, it was a pretty cold night last night, so everything's really cold at the moment. The sun's starting to poke its head out. But, you know, if I wait for the warm weather, I'll be waiting forever. It's so cold this year so far. So I'm just going to give them a wipe down. The same deal, metho, half water, then do the prep wash degreaser at the end. I'll vacuum the floor again. I've replaced the filter on that, clean that filter. So, yeah, same process as last time, just different parts. So this will get me down to probably 90%, I reckon. And then I'll do the bonnet and the tailgate and the nose cone in another session. I've got enough paint. I bought some more clear and some more colour. I'll have enough to do everything, fingers crossed. And hopefully it's exactly the same shade. I think it'll be fine. Right, so it's next morning, so let's go and check out the panels. And here we are. So all in all, yeah, pretty happy. We've got some big runs on this one door. That's the only problem. It's probably about 3 or 4 runs. And the obligatory orange peel. For some reason I cannot fix that orange peel. I've tried a few settings now. I actually sprayed a panel outside, and I was playing with the lower pressure. I was playing with the nozzle feed and the spray pattern and all this kind of stuff. And I was, putting the nozzle really close, like an inch away from the paint or from the panel. And that was the only way I could really get a glassy finish. Every other way of doing it, I just got the sort of vicious orange peel. So I'm not saying it's the product's fault, but I just think that HS Clear is probably out of my league as far as spraying. I need something that's more forgiving. It's a good clear, but yeah, I cannot see how you get a mirror finish straight off the gun. And I'd like to see one of the professional guys do it actually with that clear, or I'd like to try another clear just to see, because that's obviously the first clear I've used, so I have nothing to compare it to. But it certainly fared a lot better on the guards, on these front guards. Anything that's flat, obviously you can build it up, so that, it's much better. These panels, the gun was flicking out a little bit of clear crap as well. You can see those little specks. That was not from the environment, that was from the gun flicking out bits of unused clear debris as it was going along. But yeah, these panels, they've got a really good coverage on them, and they'll sand and buff out beautifully. So yeah, there's no metallics, came up beautiful, no mottling, no runs or anything on the metallic. And yeah, it's just the clear that's it's going to require a fair bit of work because of that peel, unfortunately, but there's not much I can do about it. And as you've seen, you can save, we can get most cars when they do panels sanded back anyway. So yeah, the body lines, the panel work, I'm really, really happy with. I can't see really any fault, even from where I did those edges recently. There might be one low spot, I think, on one of the doors, but you'll never see it. And yeah, great. I made sure I got all the hard to reach places in there, inside as well. So you can see that's come up really nice. This is the best panel for sure. Only a minute amount of peel on that one. So there you have it. I won't crap on too much. It's just more of the same, just different panels. But yeah, really happy with the color. I did the metallic at the start. I made sure you can see all the panels are orientated vertically like they would be on the car. And I did my drop coat at the end to lay up the metallic the way that it was done on the body. So there won't be any metallic variation once we line the panels up, hopefully. I can't see why it wouldn't, and you can see the doors are the same orientation. So that drop coat will make sure that the metallic's the same as the body. But yeah, that's once again, I applied all the things that I've learned over the last 4 years, and another successful result other than the clear work for the clear to be buffed out. But that's not the end of the world. So, job done. All right, so that's it. If you just want to jump straight on it, if you want to support the channel and help me finish this thing, really helps if you buy the merch, so that's why it exists. So these hats are on the store. If you look at the link below, you can go to that Teespring store and either buy a hoodie, t-shirt, or these hats. These are really good quality hats actually. They're snapback, well-made, solid embroidery hat. So if you do that, that'll help out the channel and help make me finish this thing quicker. So I appreciate everyone's support following the whole build and giving me feedback as well along the way. It really helps the whole process. So I'm just sort of waiting on this gearbox at the moment so we can get things rolling. So I gave the dyno sheet to Paul Rogers, and that showed obviously the whole gamut of horsepower and torque. And so Dominator recommended I get a 3,500 stall converter, which is obviously not cheap. They're about $1,100. You know, you're looking at probably about 2,800 for the to 2,800, as I mentioned before, for the reconditioning of the gearbox. So yeah, all in all, a little bit of money. But once that's done, then that drivetrain can be fitted into the ute. I'll obviously look at the drive shaft, which I think is from a tonner. I think of a universal joint on it. Apparently I spoke to the tail shaft guy and he said that should be all right. Might check that out anyway. That needs a paint. But then once that's fitted and in place, then I can really start to fit all the panels in and put the doors and the guards and then put the bonnet on. And then it's really, you know, dressing it up from there. So it's getting exciting now. If you haven't, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.